And good evening, Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope, as well as our other streaming channels. And tonight, I got a special guest, a good friend of mine, for a long time, man, since we were kids playing baseball. uh, we got NASCAR owner John Cohen, man. It's definitely a pleasure. What's up, Johnny?
Appreciate. What's up, Quill?
What's
Appreciate
going
the
on,
invite.
man?
Everything's all right.
Just give everybody a brief background about yourself, man.
From Vauxhall, went to Union High, played football at Union, went from Union to Grambling, from Grambling to, into the business world. Growing up in Vauxhall, it's a mixed community of black and white. You on one side, we on the other. As far as but we all went to one school, Union High. So I think throughout the time, like we all grew up in one community. We all played football together. We all played baseball together. So to this day, I feel like growing up a community like that, we became close knit. We need each other. We there for each other.
So, what what got you into NASCAR? I mean, the NASCAR thing. Like I told everybody, I've known you a long time, and I was one of your doubters because when you said,
Mhm.
I'm like NASCAR, I'm like, what? Oh, I'm telling you, man, this is it. This is the NASCAR thing. What gave you the foresight? Like, listen, this is what I really want to do.
I mean, you know me better than anybody. You know what I mean, growing up. So I always like to do stuff. Different. Like we'd be in my yard playing hockey sometimes. You know what I mean? It was just I just like to do different stuff that was just out of the norm. Like when I was riding motorcycles at one point, I went to choppers before anybody else would. I felt like as black African Americans, we all tend to do the same thing. Like, for example, at the time I was like hanging out with a lot of people in the music industry, and I tried that lane. But then going to having meetings, I felt like I was just doing the same thing as everybody else. Like I could never create my own lane doing music. So I was, if you look at it, like for example, Dr. Dre came out with headphones. Everybody come out with headphones. Puff get vodka. Everybody wants to do vodka. We don't tend to do things that's out of our norm because we figure if that person get money over there, I need to do the same thing they're doing. But if they already have that lane, how far are you going to be able to catch them in that lane if you don't do something else in another lane? Where you can ride side by side with them. So I figured by me wanting to do NASCAR, I can create my own lane and then do whatever I want from there.
A lot of people think that the NASCAR thing is recent. Let them know how long you've been doing it. I think it's been over like 12, 13 years, right?
Yeah, I started it in the lower series in 2008 and the bigger series 2000, the top three, 2009 and Cup 2012.
Yeah, I think I still remember. Wasn't Chase your first driver?
Yeah, Chase Austin.
Wow,
First year.
I still remember that,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
So now is New York racing team. I know you
Mhm.
you had the other company that was down North Carolina. So now you basically based home in
No,
back
no,
up
it's
northeast.
it's it's still in North Carolina, but I just call it New York Racing because I call it was called Extreme Motorsports when I first started.
Hmm.
Because I wanted to move it into I love motorcycles, so I wanted to do every part of racing at some point. If it was dirt bikes, for all around motorsports, so I called it Extreme Motorsports. But then I had a meeting with an individual one time that worked for the Giants. He was like, marketing got the Giants. He was like, "You're doing this all wrong." He was like, "Extreme Motorsports is never going to mean anything to anybody." He's like, "You need to create it and call it New York something. It's New York." He's like, "Because the Knicks are horrible, and all you Knicks fans listening, they are horrible. So, but fans still go. They still go to the. There's a reason why the Knicks are, the Garden is the Garden because no matter what, New York fans are loyal. The Mets fans are loyal. Yankee fans are loyal. So I wanted to create a racing team, which New York is not known for any type of NASCAR racing. So I wanted to create something for, just New York, period. New York, New Jersey, just because it's New York don't mean it's New Jersey. The Giants play in New Jersey. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
So, that, so,
I
so that was your conversation where you was like, you know what? I'm not branding myself right. Let me brand it the right way, the way it's supposed to be. This is home for
yeah,
me.
this is
Let
on for
me,
me.
yeah.
Yes. So I am going to move the team up here in the next 2 to 3 years. That's my goal. And, have it fully in New York, New Jersey area. But as of right now, the team is in North Carolina.
So how is the experience been for you, dealing with NASCAR, dealing just seeing the sport evolve, seeing yourself evolve as an individual and as an owner?
When I first got there, NASCAR as a whole wanted to bring more diversity to the forefront. They've been like that since I've been there, as far as the leadership, especially with the new leadership that came in. Um, was the fans ready? No. Was the crew guys and all that stuff? I dealt with a lot of different things throughout my years there. Fair share, just like anybody else would deal with anything in any industry. It is what it is. But now that the whole world has seen post George Floyd, situation, that the whole world is now realizing we need to invest in more black business, invest in individuals of color trying to change the culture. I feel like NASCAR has stepped up even more to be in that fight. So
One of the things I always found it unique is that a lot of the hardcore fans, like, they travel from race to race. How is
mhm.
that experience when you guys go, like, yesterday was Daytona, and then you guys would go somewhere else the next week, and you might see literally the same exact fans, like 10,000 fans that are the same ones, like they done drove all their RVs and trailer homes, like.
Yeah. So I never really see the fans per se. Where where we at, we're in the, like, pit in the circle.
Mhm.
So, like, the majority of the fans, I really don't. I mean, you talk about it. Some places 200,000 people there. So I could never. But, like, it's like a traveling circus. Like, like it goes from city to city. It's not like basketball or baseball where you play regionally. We travel from city to city like like any circus would. So everybody packs up and goes back to North Carolina. As far as that part, the teams, all the RVs, the buses go from that place to the next place.
I know one of your great experiences when President Obama was in office and you guys was at the White House. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So I actually wanted to go, and I actually asked NASCAR, can I go? And they was like, it's for the champions. This is not something that other owners actually go to. I don't think we can accommodate that. So I had a friend that worked at the White House, and I asked him, like, I need to go. I can't miss this. I need to go. This might be the last time, you know, be at the White House. So he set it up where I went. My mother and I brought a friend of mine. So it was a great experience. Just being first experience at the White House per se, behind the gates, and then to be there when President Obama was there was like special to me. And to bring my mom. What I mean, that was special for her to go. You know.
Did have you, in reference to NASCAR, have you had that moment where you was like, yo, I got everybody on my back. I got my family. Rest in peace to your pops.
Hmm.
Everybody I grew up with. Like, this is a moment for everybody. Like, I'm happy because I'm representing my town. Everything.
I mean, I never looked at it like that yet, but for me, I still got a long way to go. I'm still considered a part-time team. Next year, I'll be considered a full-time team. And when I say part-time, it just might be two or three races that don't make it go to the close of a year on sponsorship. But it's just timing. Like most of these guys I race against, if like many you'll see social media like, oh, this team is not bigger than that team. Like Rick Hendrick team was my team at one point. He was battling all the older guys at that time. Like Stuart Haas, which is one of the big teams. I was racing against them. We was running side by side. Now they're a top team. So it's all sponsorship. It's all built on trying to build it up, and it's going to take time. So it's just pushing.
How does that work with an owner when you're trying to get a major company to sponsor you? You have to pitch to them, or they basically choose you.
No, I mean, you have to pitch to them. I mean, they'll have companies that come out and if you have relationships, it's more or less all relationships. Like when you get sponsors like that. So right now, I'm trying to fulfill a big relationship that I might have, and if it works out, it'll change the whole scope of the team.
I know one of your biggest things, and the racing thing, but you guys are doing something think I noticed it 2 years ago. You guys are doing something remarkable with the schools in reference to STEM. Explain that.
So my thing for the kids is me growing up. I knew nothing about NASCAR. Like my father used to always talk about racing, and I used to race in the hole. That's why I started, like racing in the hole with everybody. We go on 78 race, but a lot of kids. And then growing up, in our area, it was like all stolen cars when we was young. Like I tell most people in NASCAR, like the first time I ever seen a burnout was a stolen car. Like let's be clear, I didn't grow up seeing burnouts at Victory Circle.
Hmm.
I saw them stolen cars in front of White Castle. So it was a different setting for me as an owner than the rest of the owners. So I want to make sure that kids of color, especially from areas of North Philly, Baltimore, Richmond, Virginia, Compton, wherever we race at, I want to make sure these kids understand that going to school, learning STEM, learning science, technology, and mathematics will help you if you want to get NASCAR to be an engineer, to be a crew chief, because you don't always have to be a driver. You don't always have to be, you know, it's a role for everybody in NASCAR. So, for example, some crew chiefs in NASCAR make $2 million a year. Like, and
Wow.
there's kids out there that can be, pit crew guys make 300,000 a year. Some of them. So like the best ones, it's no reason why these kids in this. It's not any black crew. It's no black crew chiefs in NASCAR right now. So I just want to make sure kids of color, kids of from inner cities are equipped to be in racing if they want to be there.
Wow. I never thought of it that way. I remember when you used to tell me, you used to be like, yo, whenever, because I live right by the Pocono Raceway. And you was like, yo,
Hmm.
when you want to come, just let me know so I can put
Hmm.
you on the list so you could come. I went there one time and they was letting like regular cars racing around and I didn't see nobody of color there. And it's a lot of
Hmm.
people in the Pocono area that's black.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I'm like, I wonder, do people that's black really understand, like, this sport is here just like we grew up baseball, football, stuff like that. This sport is here as well. Um, with yourself, Michael Jordan being the owner as well,
Hmm.
Brad Darty. I mean, we grew
Hmm.
up on Brad Darty and Bubba. It's like, oh wow, like
Hmm.
we've been here, we here, and it's like it's time to open up the doors for everybody else. I know that one of the things that you had liked to do before was you used to always love to come to the high schools in the area and just talk and just give people the experience. Like, look, you don't have to do the regular stuff.
Hmm.
You can find a lane in NASCAR.
Yeah, I still do it now. I did a Zoom the other day with Ronnie Z's at Union for kids trying to start businesses. So I just don't actually go into the schools anymore. I still do, Zoom calls with different schools and actually go into certain prisons, talking to them and do. That stopped since COVID. But before that, I was doing, going to speak everywhere I could. Because I mean, every now growing up, we grow up. It's 2 seconds difference of you going one lane to another. So if I can help kids see that, if I don't do sports, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? Like start teaching kids is more ways than sports, as far as the dribbling a basketball, hitting a baseball, and throwing a football.
Look, and a lot of people don't know is one of the things that you did before NASCAR, which I always thought was interesting, is that you were one of the first people of color that really got. Let me not say people of color, first black people that I know that really got serious about the trucking industry.
Yeah,
And that's something that I know. You call me and be like, "Yo, come to the company." I'm like, "What do you
yeah,
mean?" And you was into
yeah.
trucks. If you want to talk about that, you could talk about that as well, like being an owner of trucks as well.
I mean, the trucking business was just a starting lane for me because something my father did, so it was easy to get knowledge as far as trucks of how to and plus I knew a lot of people that was in that industry at the time who can help me out once I got the trucks and do my routes and stuff like that. But it just all the business I did before it basically put into perspective where I'm at now. For example, like most people don't know, when I played football in Union, I played golf. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people don't remember. Like when I played golf in high school, it was certain places they was looking at me funny. Like it was 92. I was out there playing golf, and it wasn't no black people playing at Boston Straw at the time. I remember, the coach, which was the football coach, my position coach. He like, no black people really play at this course. And I was like, why? And to me, it was like I didn't see the significance of it. So when I'm at the track now and then I hear different things, it's like I've been going through this. Like I've been like in situations where like my counterparts are looking at me funny because I'm here. So, everything that went through life actually helped me to the point where I'm at now.
In dealing with as being the first or one of the few with
Hmm.
NASCAR, if you could weigh it out, would you say that the good experience outweigh the bad experiences?
I mean, yes. So it's not. I didn't say I had. I can't say I had bad experiences. I'm saying I had adversity. That put me into a lane that's saying I need to do this. I need to restructure how I want to do this because I've been in it a decade. It just wasn't my decade to be that person yet in NASCAR. I think this decade will be my decade to be the forefront of what I want to do in NASCAR. It just I have to like when it comes to NASCAR, like I know what the car is doing. I know, and a lot of owners don't even know that side of it. I know what we need in the shop. I know this. I learned. I'm a student of the game. I know the marketing side. It's not something they can just tell me and just say, "Oh, why my car's not going fast." I know why it's not going fast.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. It made me think about when we was young. You'd be like, take a ride with me. Next thing you know, you go buy a DuPont registry and you sit there and read the whole magazine. I'm like, yo, why you ain't talking? I'm like, you like, yo, man, I'm reading, man. Hold up, I'll talk to you in a second. Well, I know one of the things I know that you're really, really proud of is your connection with the HBCUs and
Hmm.
the work you've been doing with them. What's going on with that?
So, a lot, even before it's happening now, like a lot of companies now are starting to give back to HBCUs. I feel like me going to a HBCU set me. I mean, just being honest, like if we want to be honest in the conversation, when I decided to go to HBCU when I saw my grandma stuff at Union, I used to get a lot of slack from that. Like I used to go in the locker room and say I'm going to Grambling. Like some of the kids we went to high school with used to say, "Why you going to all black school? You racist?" Like at that time, black schools wasn't popular at Union. It wasn't a thing to do. Like for people to say that and that was at the time of all the sweatshirts was cool to wear. Like we went to black colleges, but we didn't promote it as much as we did, like we did in the '90s. So my HBU experience is like we was all proud to be there as African American students. We wasn't a minority. We was a majority. We ran the campus. We were the campus. We had fun. We learned different. And I feel like a lot of kids need to get that experience as far as Black America. I think they feel they need to be around their own people learning certain things. I learned stuff at Gremlin that I didn't learn at Union. So I feel like yes, education would be good at Harvard, but who would have said Howard education is not as great as Harvard? It's just what they tell you. Like I feel like Howard education, Grambling education is all a great education. As you see, most of our leaders now come from HBCU. So why now you can't say that their education was any less than a black college education. So I feel like we just need to now showcase more of our black colleges. They've been there for a reason when we couldn't go to college. So let's keep them going.
Like I said in the beginning of the interview, when me and John known each other since we were kids, and when
Hmm.
he told me just to let people know in the chat, when he told
Hmm.
me he was thinking about NASCAR, I was like, what? Like, what did you talk about? What, like when you have like people that's cool with you, people that doubt like I said before, what you want it to be different. Like, yo, I don't want to pigeonhole myself and doing the same thing. Q, NASCAR is where it's set. Yo, why didn't you give up?
I mean, you know me by now. Like, I'm not a person that just gives. My thing is consistency. Like you was telling me today. Like I tell you, I ride the bike. He's like, you want to ride? You ride the bike every day? I'm like, all I've known all my life is consistency. Like playing sports, it pretty molds you into consistency. Like a lot of people don't realize that. Like organized sports, as a kid, will put you in a consistency mode. You go to practice every day. You do this every day. It keeps you consistent. So I feel like if I keep myself consistent in this sport, and be there, and no matter what, know like I have to do this. It's no like I tell kids. So when I tell kids about their business, and they say, well, I want to start a business, and I tell them, your business should be like how you love somebody. So you ever have a relationship when it goes bad and you're sick, like you're totally sick, like you like I can't live, like we all been there. If your business don't make you feel like that, it's not the right business because you didn't love it.
Mm.
If your business don't have you sick, like can't sleep at night, you don't love it. Like if you can get up in the morning and be like, oh, whatever, you didn't love this business. You just wanted to fly by it. But if the business has you sick to your stomach that you have to have it the way you want to have it, then you love it. And nothing's gonna stop you from finishing what you got to do. So until you get to that point, you're not doing the thing you love in life.
Wow. Wow. So the next step is to qualify. I mean, how did you? One thing about NASCAR I always thought was amazing is that the rain delays. I never realized how the rain delays can like throw everything off, and they still be racing till Monday or Tuesday. Have you ever experienced something crazy like that, and you'd be like, "Man, I had plans on Monday, but
No,
I'm
I mean
here."
I leave when it's rain delays like that or something. I leave and come back. I leave and and see the people the next weekend. Like NASCAR has a schedule, and they'll tell you like, for example, I'd be like, hey, I want to bring this person. Will you pay them to come? Like as a like no, the green flag is going to drop at a certain time, and the black and white flag is going to drop at that certain time. Either way, there or not, it's going to drop, and that next flag is going to drop. So they look at it like that. No matter what, them flags is going to drop, and we're going to have a race.
We got one question. We got a question for you from our buddy Dwayne. He
Oh,
said
Dwayne, what's
he,
up?
he said, could you explain the different levels of NASCAR for those who may not know?
Okay, so you have different levels. So, for example, I started with a kid out of Springfield, late model. So I would compare it to us. So it's late model, it's ARCA, it's the Truck Series, the Xfinity Series, and the Cup Series. I would compare those four. If I compare late model is like Pop Warner football. It's just a start lane for kids coming up. ARCA Series is like junior high, like 7th, 8th grade football. Like that's where that's at. Some levels it's high school, but it's still high school football. Then the Truck Series, I would compare that to semi-pro. You just came out of high school, you're trying to figure out how to get to that college level, but you're not there yet. Xfinity Series is the next series above, the Cup Series. I would consider that the college football, and then the Cup Series is pro football. If that helps explain it.
The goal is to get into that Cup Series and then compete with the big boys.
Yeah, that's the goal of every driver and every owner to be in the Cup.
Now I'm gonna ask you. I know it's amazing. I know how you are, and you real laid back, and you won't say much when you're around a lot of people. Definitely those that don't know. Did you have you met when you in your NASCAR life? Who was the driver that you met and was like, this is the one?
For
The
me,
owner, yeah, for you. Have you had a moment where like if Bob Petty? Did you meet Bob Petty?
No, Richard Petty. Yeah, I met.
Richard Petty.
I mean, the only owner that really when I see him, I'm like, I gotta make sure my team is just like him is Rick Hendrick. He owns the 40, 48, the 24, the 5, and I forgot the other number right now because they switched the number so much. But yeah, if you saw Days of Thunder, that movie was about him. He started with one car, went from one car to 4 cars. So I want to mold my team around what he did, like just build it up and he's been in the sport since the 80s, so 40 years of racing. Wow. So, I mean, most people don't realize, like, I'm out there racing against people like the Wood brothers that been there since 60 years. Hendrick Motorsports been there for 40 years. Roush been out for 40 years. Richard Petty been there since it started. Like teams like that, and then you got Roger Penske, who billionaire, Hendrick billionaire, like Richard Petty, like his backwards are billionaires. I'm racing against guys that's legit I'm not supposed to be racing against. But it's still a sponsor-driven sport. So if you have the right sponsors, no matter how much money they have,
Yeah,
it just matters how much money that they're gonna put in the car. So
yeah.
if you have the right sponsors, it doesn't matter about that part. It matters what's gonna make your car go fast.
So is the sport like to win? You gotta it's just like a football comparison. You gotta have the perfect owner, the perfect crew chief, perfect driver all at one time.
Yes.
Have you ever seen like is it crew chiefs like you want this crew chief because he runs that car right? Is there certain
So
guys in the industry like that's the crew chief
it,
that you want?
it's just like any other sport. So I'm gonna compare it to football. Like you can have a great quarterback and a great receiver, and they just don't mesh well together. No matter how you look at it, because one quarterback that offense might be way different than another offense, so it might not work out between that QB and that wide receiver. The same way with a crew chief and the driver. Like it's so with NASCAR is different than Formula One. Formula One, they get in the car and he'll tell, "Hey, my car is loose," and they'll put it in a computer and it'll fix it during a race. With NASCAR,
Wow.
with NASCAR, it goes right to the steering wheel. Like it ain't, it's so much technology, it goes right to the steering wheel to fix it. With NASCAR, it's not like that. If the car is loose or tight, you have to tell the crew chief, and they have to really figure out why this car is tight, why the car is racing. So they might have to take rounds. You might not never see it, but you ever see like when they do a pit stop and they go in the back and they turn this thing like that's a
Mm-hmm.
track bar. So that you might need a track bar adjustment. Might take a rubber out the spring. You might need the tire pressures might be a little different. It could be anything that makes the car tight, loose. But you got to explain that to your crew chief why I'm coming off turn 3 and my car is loose or it's tight. So they have to figure out how to make it better on that side of the track and still be good enough for the other side. Because most people don't realize when you're going in that circle, each turn is different because the banking is different, the angle is different. So it might be good on one side, and a totally different side it might be even worse. So you have to give a good combination so the car stays on the track.
Dwayne said, "How do they go about getting drivers?"
It's the luck of the draw. I mean, it goes off of how what drivers are available and what sponsor likes that driver or team works. It just happens to be the luck. See, I'm at the point now. I'm trying to develop drivers. Like I'm trying to get them from younger, put older drivers in, and know that this is going to be the driver for years to come.
Yeah, that's what I seen you doing. You was doing the simulator.
Yeah,
I seen you doing the
yeah,
simulator.
yeah.
That's really like the real deal. If you get
Yeah,
on the
that's it.
simulator.
So what's good about the simulator now? We have a thing called iRacing. So iRacing is actually going to help more African Americans get in the sport, because before, you know, 5 years ago, the simulators wasn't a necessity to learn how to drive. Now the simulators are so accurate that you don't have to test on certain tracks. You can learn how to drive on a simulator. So kids don't have a lot of money to be out there racing in late model cars, because you wreck it, then your parents have to fix it. You wreck a simulator, you just hit start again, and it gives you the same feeling that you being out there in the track with. So it's
Okay.
kids that's making it through simulators all the way to the highest level of NASCAR at this moment, just racing the iRacing.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
It's a whole bunch that the average fan just don't
yeah,
see or know what's going
yeah,
on. I definitely didn't know about the Formula One with they could fix it
yeah.
from the outside.
They fix it right from all the computers. It goes right to switching it right in the steering wheel.
Wow. Johnny, man, I'm glad you could join us tonight, man. I really
No, I
appreciate having
appreciate
you
it.
on,
Thanks
bro.
for having me.
And I apologize to everybody in the chat. Johnny actually was supposed to have been on, but I kind of didn't see the text till late, and then I'm
Mm,
glad we caught him now because the season has started, and
mm,
we need to be on the lookout for John Cohen and
mm.
be able to
So, KK,
understand it.
okay, I'm sorry.
Tell KK what?
Thanks for the kind words. I saw the text.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
gonna,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
She on it. She said, "I
yeah,
ain't know." She said, "I ain't know Union had golf."
yeah. Union had golf, and it was funny. Everybody used to laugh at me when I played golf. Now look, everybody playing. Cam,
Yeah.
everybody used to laugh. Now they play golf more than I do.
So when we watch NASCAR, we need to understand that outside of just Michael Jordan and like Dwayne reminded me earlier about Brad Daugherty being into it as
Yeah,
heavy and
yeah,
actually doing the color of it as yourself, man. That we are out there and a lot of times we gear our kids towards a certain sport. Know that NASCAR is a sport as well, and
yeah,
it's the fastest growing sport. Everyone,
yeah.
NASCAR is
I
the
mean, I
fastest
mean,
growing sport.
NASCAR, it was the biggest sport at one time. So if you look at any data metrics to it, NFL is the biggest sport, and then it's NASCAR. But globally, NBA is the biggest sport out of everybody globally, because you have fans all over the world, especially the merge of social media made NBA even bigger. So those three pretty much, we are way bigger than Major League Baseball, NASCAR. And most people don't realize because we live in the tri-state area, we don't realize it. But, NASCAR and, NBA and,
And
they are,
Dwayne
yeah.
watched all day yesterday.
Oh yeah, yeah, and especially races like yesterday, you'll be glued to the screen because them bigger tracks have better racing. Daytona,
Yeah,
Talladega, because they all
yeah.
come together.
That's one thing about the season, the NASCAR season, which is funny because the other sports they geared their seasons around NASCAR season because when you come to viewership, like you said, you get 200,000 people in the stands. Like
Yeah,
that's a
I
lot of
mean
people, man.
we literally compete with every sport in the course of a year. So in the beginning, we race the weekend after Super Bowl every year. So now we can compete against the NBA, as far as sports, and then it goes into baseball, then it goes to the football. So we really, out there like battling as far as TV time with every sport in the course of the year.
Great, great.
Yeah,
Well, look, Jay, man. Appreciate
I
you coming on the
appreciate
show,
you. All
man.
right, thanks, Dwayne.
Appreciate you,
Thanks,
bro,
Keiko.
man. Keep doing your
I
thing,
appreciate
bro.
it. I will. Thanks.
All right, take it easy.
All right, all right,
All right.
thanks. Take.
The Black Cats. What you doing, girl? I want to say nothing. Not sitting in my car being self-destructive, awaiting motivation that's never coming. I know I should be doing something, cleaning something, greeting someone, solving all life's big conundrums, pouring into wells I come from, mending all that's come undone, filtering all that comes downstream. Nothing bad should get past me. I'm the holder of so many seats that sitting seems a luxury. Hey queen, how you doing? I want to say fine, or some epithet to pass the time. I'm feeling like a ball of rage that burns below my rib cage for all the things I've overlooked and every loss I ever took. I want to slap her in her face for making me feel out of place, and I want to squish him like a grape, and instead he gets away with rape. But I've got enough on my plate, and it's unladylike to unpack my hate. It doesn't matter anyway. I got mad stuff to do today. Wait, damn. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I'm fine. Don't mind me, I just lost my mind. Mommy, are you okay? Yes, of course. It's not like I'm contemplating divorce. A good mother knows it wouldn't be right to consider running away in the dead of the night. At least not for good. That wouldn't be nice. Just an arbitrary length of time to decide if it's his life or mine. Let's read a story. Bake a pie. Get lost inside your child like mine. Let's play house. Let's pretend we like this cage we're all trapped in. Mommy shouldn't let it slip that you're the reason I put up with this. Your happiness, my sacrifice. He pays the bills, comes home at night. The rest is fine. I'm fine. Good night. He sprayed for bed bugs. They won't bite. I look in the mirror, but not at my reflection. I break it down into little sections, wash my face and brush my teeth, avoid the eyes looking back at me. If I asked her how she really felt, my resolve would all but melt. She asked, when have you checked on you? And there is just too much to do. I assure myself I don't have time to find out if I'm doing fine or feeling fine. Not really fine. I know that I'm going to be all right. God's on my side. I'll toe the line. She won't ask questions I won't ask. She won't answer questions I won't ask. I won't see through the looking glass. She won't give the thought fighter runner voice, and I'll never have to make a choice. I'll snuggle dulled in my complacency as long as I never have to look at me. Oh, me? Don't worry. I'm doing just fine. If you'll excuse me, I've got to go lose my mind. I'm anxious to see what's left behind. And that's that.